Hey, my Windsor real estate peeps. It is time for this week's monthly or weekly update of the Windsor real estate market. Now, if you would have tuned in to CTV News on Friday, they were saying that the real estate market here in Windsor, or sales in Windsor, have crashed, which is fictitious news. I always hate when the news makes fake news. It's just not any fun. And I wish that they would stay away from making fake news, because the reality is what I'm reporting to you here. Why they don't tune in to watch my weekly updates, to actually find out the truth, the numbers, the real stuff, is beyond me. Instead, they go out and pick up stuff out of thin air and say, oh no, we're going to make a news article because this is what we want the news to be. And that's not reporting news, that's making fake news. And I just wish they would stop doing that. So here's the real news. For the week, we sold 59 houses. Last week, we sold 57 houses. Pretty stable to me. It seems like a stable real estate market. Not exactly the kind of news that people would tune in to hear. Live tonight from the newsroom, stable real estate conditions. Nobody would want to tune in. I don't need to tune in then. It's stable. There's nothing to have to be watching at all. So let's see how stable it actually is. For the week, we listed and sold $29 million worth of houses. Last week, we listed and sold $29 million worth of houses. Seems exceptionally stable. Doesn't seem like there's any week-over-week difference at all. Now, this week we didn't sell any million-dollar houses. Last week we sold a couple million-dollar houses, 3 of them. So if anything, this week was stronger than last week. So their news that they should have been a live update, the Windsor real estate market is increasing, should have been their headlines for the news. They created fake news and reported it, which is sad. We should be holding our newscasters to a higher standard than that. It is very sad. So anyway, let's dive in. So we sold we listed 29 million, and we sold 29,214,000. Last week was 29 million, and we sold 29,685,000. But we sold some million-dollar houses. Here we didn't sell any million-dollar houses. It was far more stable of a market this week than what it was last week. Now, let's look at the percentages of at or under. This is what's changed. You'll notice there's more red on my sheet than what there was last week. By a few, not a whole lot. But at or under bid grew to 34. So there were 34 homes that sold for the week that were at or under their asking price. So if you were a buyer, wouldn't it be a great time to be out there buying? Because you're going to get a special deal. I just looked at a house tonight on Gladstone, and the realtor there kind of bumped it up a little bit too fast. I hope it performs well. It was a stunningly beautiful house that I felt was worth probably around $385,000 as it sits. $360,000 as it sits. When it's all done, it's worth $420,000 on Gladstone, which is about what the average house is selling for on Gladstone. But anyway, I digress. 34 homes at or under bid gave us 57.6%. Over half of the houses sold at or under their asking price in the city of Windsor. Last week, 25 sold at or under for 43.8%. So should we be celebrating this number? Yes. And what the headline should be is the government of Canada has been very successful in lowering house prices in Windsor for Canadians. Because now suddenly there's 57.6 that are at or under. which is hugely successful from the government's perspective. They can't help it that interest rates are now 77.4%. They can't help that part. All that they were trying to do was reduce the cost of houses across Canada, and they were very successful here in the city of Windsor. 57.6% are under or at the asking price. Either that or realtors are doing a better job of becoming professional realtors and are pricing the houses more realistically at what they're supposed to be worth. I think it's a combination of both. No longer are realtors bringing houses to market at $100,000 and saying, yeah, come on in, bring your elephants and herd a buffalo in. Write us offers. They're not doing that anymore. So they're starting to price the houses at roughly what the seller's expectation is. What would you like to sell your house for? Here's what I think it's worth. Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind selling it for that. I want to sell my house. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get your house sold. Very, very simple thing. So at the end of the day, just interesting information, 57.6%. Average sale price. Let's go here. Average list price. $491,792. Average list price last week, $508,000. Was there any difference between 508 and 491? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. If we look at the week before, average list was 475, average sale was 484. Last week, average list was 508, average sale was 520. This week, when you're supposed to be out there looking for houses. I don't know if you're out there looking for houses or not, but 59 people are, and they're buying them. I've got 3 clients right now that are looking at, trying to buy a house, and we're trying to find them houses. 791, 762, average list price, 791, 762. Average sale price, $495,165. Under $500,000 for a house. Average cost in Windsor, Essex. Great pricing points across the board. Now, let's look at what has sold. And we'll try to get my camera to focus in here a little bit better. I've got one of these new iPhone thingies, and it's not perfect for some reason. Don't know why. I'm supposed to have this great hunky-dunky camera on it. But you can see there that a house in the 2300 block of Lillian was listed at $429, sold for $450. Laurier in LaSalle, $480. Watson in Riverside, $480. Trappers in Riverside, a townhome, $485. That was a great deal. That was an awesome place. Edward in Riverside, 510 maybe? Yeah, 510. Clover, 570. That was a raised ranch, 570. Shingle Creek, 620. International in LaSalle, 628. On a 599 asking Academy, 649. Pavan, that's a really wonderful road, 688. That was a good deal. Pope, 765. 765 on Pope. What a great deal that is. So let's look at some others. Watson, 3-something, 385. Francois, 375. Westminster, 340. Central, 325. Glengarry, 268. Felix, 261. That was a tough house. It did well, selling for $261. The house next door to it sold for $260. So it would make sense that they were both pretty similar. $260 across the board, pretty simple. Goyo, $254. Ellis, $245. The cheapest house was actually a condo that sold for $185. I've seen this. It needed everything all ripped out of it and replaced. But that was still a good deal for this condo. $185. So there's a lot of people that are asleep at the wheel. They're not even going out to see the houses thinking, woe is me, I can't afford a house, interest rates have gone up or whatever. And because I can't afford a $400,000 house anymore, I'm just not going to buy any house. Well, you should be out there looking, because there's some really nice $360,000 houses and some really nice $300,000 houses and some really nice $260,000 houses. One of those I just closed this week. So you need to be out there looking, because now's the time to be out there, because 57.6% are at or under bid. And houses are now affordable. They're under average selling prices, under $500,000 in the city of Windsor, with a $5.3 billion battery plant coming in, with a $2 billion bridge being built, with a $1 billion hospital coming in at some point in time, and probably with a $1 billion revitalization of the Chrysler plant to be able to build electric cars here soon. Just tons of things coming into the city of Windsor. And our weather, there's no change in the number of people coming across my lead generation programs that are moving to Windsor. I have many of them. They're just moving on different scales, different schedules. It's okay. They're still moving to Windsor. Population is still increasing here. Transit is going to be tough, because we're going to have that many more cars on the road here soon. So it's all good. There is absolutely nothing that the press, the news, CTV should have letters to them saying, hey, wait a second. What you reported was actually fake news, because I watch Brian's YouTube channel and he reports the real news. He reports the real data, and there's no change week over week, month over month in the Windsor real estate market. It's not crashing at all. It's actually very, very stable compared to other markets. So that's my TIFT for today. Thanks for tuning in. That's your market update for the city of Windsor. If you have any questions about real estate, I'd love to be able to help you. 519-995-6145, 519-995-6145. Have plenty of time. Would love to get out there and either sell your house or help you buy another house. Thanks for watching. Call me anytime.